Headache 4. Enhancing your environment. Your SharePoint environment is almost a living person. It is created, it evolves, sometimes it gets sick, and often it needs a doctor. SharePoint grows accordingly to its usage. Administrators and architects set the platform for one business line, then another, and at the end you have multiple farms scattered everywhere. Everyone starts to realize that optimizing the environment is critical in terms of cost administration, but also because performance can become unstable. That is why numerous consulting companies are available to assist on these topics. The question is, how can you be sure any actions taken will improve user experience if you cannot measure it? In order to measure the benefit of any change in your environment, administrators have to be able to measure the user experience before and after the changes. Otherwise, they will never really know if the changes made had any real impact on user satisfaction. For that, they desperately need data. There's no magical way to measure that. You can perform several performance tests alone before, during, and after the changes, spending days and days collecting data, or you can just let a tool do that for you. How can GSX solutions cure this headache? GSX constantly tests your environment as a user, performing actions, using web services, checking the availability and size of your SQL environment, and so on. When you make a change or start a major project, be sure to collect data before you begin. Obviously, if you want to compare changes before or after, you need data from before or after. GSX will inform on the performance delivered to your users before and after any change made in your environment. Let's take a closer look at 3 features of GSX Monitor. In GSX Monitor, if you go to the Performance tab, for example, you'll find a way to constantly measure the time it takes for a user to access any SharePoint site you define. GSX will try to connect to these sites exactly the same way a user would. Scan after scan, you can see the impact of your changes from a user perspective. Let's go back to the main view. You can see different LEDs regarding your SharePoint environment. The first one is the availability of your SharePoint front-end server. In real time, this LED gives you the access availability of your SharePoint servers and the availability from a user perspective of your web services. As already mentioned in the previous videos, GSX is not only checking the status of your web services, it actually uses them. Let's now go to the Server Setting tab. Here you can define how you want to perform user simulations of your web services via scanning frequency and your retry settings. Then you can display what type of web services you want to test. GSX will test them as a user and will display in the SharePoint statistics view the time it takes a user to use these features. You will then be able to check the impact of any improvements to your environment before and after the changes you've made, again, all from a user perspective. Same thing with SharePoint scenarios. You can select in the tab the type of scenario that you want to run, create a meeting, a blog post, upload a document, and so on. Once again, you have the statistics from a user perspective regarding utilization of your SharePoint infrastructure. You can also create trends on availability with the reporting tool of GSX, GSX Analyzer. Very quickly in the Trends tab, you can create automatic reports on availability, including the use of the web services, to see the evolution over a defined period. Comparing before the changes and after the changes becomes very easy, and you can also configure to receive these reports automatically in PDF or CSV, scheduled as you define. GSX gives you the tools you need to test your changes and to see easily if your actions improve user experience and if it's really worth the money you're spending. To sum up briefly what we just viewed, GSX, which is agentless and acting as a user, will allow you to get data on user experience before, during, and after any changes, easily customize monitoring and alerting regarding performance of your systems, and automatically generate reports, either in CSV or PDF format, sent directly to the right groups or individuals. Thank you for your time. The next headache we will look at is resource constraints. You can now download the SharePoint Headaches ebook or download the free trial of GSX Monitor. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions you might have. You can reach us at sales@gsx.com. Thank you again, and see you next time.